Hey Hugs, just a reminder before you get into the show that we have merchandise, yes, and you can find it on our Ugly Truth website. There's a little tab, you can click on it, and then you can peruse to see all of our styles. You can grab a mug or a sticker. We have hoodies and t-shirts, pretty much anything you would want to show your pride for being an Ugly Truth listener. Thank you so much for supporting us. Enjoy the show. Welcome to The Ugly Truth. This is episode 542. Oh, God, those were bad.
God, mine too.
We're drinking Kentucky Bucks because why not?
I've never heard of a Kentucky Buck, but I'll tell you, it's delicioso.
It's delicioso.
It's going down very smoothly.
Whiskey, strawberry, lemon, ginger beer, and a little simple
craft
syrup.
ice ball from Jamie and Daryl's new fridge. It's very nice. I love it.
Yes. It's funny because we were right before we were talking about how we're old.
Well, we're just not young.
It's funny because now all the memes that everyone my age is posting, it's like there will never be more people older than you or something like that. I'm like, can we stop trying to come to peace with our old age? We're 50.
And the thing, yes, that's what I was just about to say. And the thing is like, we're really not that old. Like, I have friends on my Facebook who probably read that and laugh. Like, ha 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 ha.
Well, and like,
must be so nice. I'm turning 70 this year.
I was at the dentist forever ago, and he asked me how old I was, and I told him, and he goes, you're a baby. And I'm like, okay, no, I'm not. Let's stop with that.
But you are to somebody who's much older.
Forever there will be someone who will laugh haughtily at me saying, I remember when I was that age.
Right. Until you're 80, and then no one will say that.
Yeah, then they'll
be like, no, you are old.
Yeah, they're like, well, you're the oldest in our family, Mom. And I'm like, oh.
Well, because anybody older than you is dead.
Pretty much.
So...
And then I remember Mom, I told her, I'm like, God, I'm just getting so old. She goes, Jamie, you're not old. You're young. And I'm like, you know what? You had a 10-year-old grandson at my age.
Right.
So please, with the old. I am. You just don't want to think of me old because it makes you old.
Yeah, because you're older.
She's like, all I'm saying is I would kill for your skin and take a lot of photos because you're going to regret it. And I'm like, I hate taking photos.
Yeah, she has any room to talk.
She has 3 pictures.
Ever. Yeah, like ever. And every time she posts one, I'm like, oh my God, Mom posted a photo with her face actually in it?
I called her Martha Stewart. She goes, hey, well, when you got it, you got it. And I'm like... Jesus.
So like,
you said that was so funny. I was like, what?
And you wonder where our vanity comes from.
Saucy woman. Who are you?
Right?
That made me laugh.
She knows she looks good.
She's adorable.
She is adorable.
She's the common man's Martha Stewart. I told her, I'm like, if you would just do your hair like Martha Stewart, it would be amazing.
Right?
She just hates long hair. And
but she has it longer now than it's been.
It does.
And it looks great.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really like it. I wish Mother would learn. She's very conservative fashion-wise. You know, she never shows any skin.
She's a very Ralph Lauren gal.
She is, but she has expensive taste, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And she can mostly afford what she wants.
It's true.
She's rather humble. She could do a little more. I'm like, Mom, come on, really spend some fucking money. You're getting older. Like,
you know what? I wonder if it's the generation, because she's a young boomer.
She
right?
is.
And so, well, she's probably in the middle of the road boomer.
Yeah.
And so she is not comfortable indulging.
Yeah.
Specific.
Like you.
Yes.
God. I mean, you do it a little more.
But do you remember when she was making a lot of money at the prime of her earning career? We were teenagers, and she was just raking in the dough. And we told her, Mom, get the Mercedes, because she wanted her dream car.
Why doesn't she have one now?
Her dream car is a convertible red Mercedes, not a sedan, the sporty one.
The SL.
The SL. And we're like, get it. Just get it. You can totally afford it. It's not that expensive. I mean, you can do it. I don't know.
It's not practical.
It's not practical.
We can't all fit in it.
I know. And then we're like, that's dumb. We all have cars. Get it.
Yeah. And and by the way, she's not had children in the home in 30 years? Yeah. And she still doesn't have one. I'm like, why are you buying an SUV?
She's like, well,
why?
You don't even have dogs.
Yes.
Okay, I was going to ask you something. This is so random, and I you know how the world celebrates the most oddest things?
Yeah.
So this is actually an old school celebration. Did you know that there is something called Name Day?
Name Day?
Yes, and everybody has a name day, and it's different for everybody.
Okay.
Okay, so I, of course, looked ours up.
Oh.
I'll tell you. Name Day is an old European tradition. Every day of the year is someone's name. People all across Europe have been celebrating their first names for centuries. Did you know this? And when they say they celebrate, like, it's full-on, like, birthday party celebrations.
Oh, no.
And, like, there are festivals for Denise.
I know people are fascinated with their names and their origins and if they fit their personalities when they become adults and all of that.
Yes.
But I don't know. For me, my name, for me, is always about the story about why I was named what I was named. Not necessarily the name itself.
However, I would say that that's probably true for everybody.
Maybe.
You know, who has named their name, but now they've assigned a day to it. So there is a website called What Is Your Name Day?
Okay.
And I Googled it, and I'm like, well, I wonder if I have it, because I have the masculine name, Jamie. Yeah. It's spelled masculine.
Yeah.
Well, they have every name rendition, every spelling.
Is there a feminine way of spelling Jamie?
Yes. It's Jaime.
See, that's Jaime.
I'm just telling you.
And my friend at work is Jaime, and he's very male.
There's Jayme,
Yeah, that's
Jamey. There's all kinds, but But my way of my spelling of it is James is the formal name, but it's Jamie.
Okay.
So my name day is July 25th.
Our names couldn't be any different. Mine is like super feminine.
I wish. I'm jealous of your name.
Why? I love your name.
I love your name.
You should have been named Randy.
Shut the hell up.
All about it.
Are you fucking kidding me with that shit?
It's cute.
No.
I'm like Dad.
July 25th is my name day.
Okay.
Yours is December 26th.
Strange.
It's spelled exactly the way you spell it.
Okay.
Because there are other ways, like Stefania, Stephanie with an F.
That's what they call me at work. All my Hispanic friends call me Stefania.
I like that.
Well, and they put an E in front of it. Estefania.
Oh, jeez. That's hilarious.
It is hilarious. I love it.
But I was like, that's a kind of a cool thing. I mean, I'm never celebrate. No.
I mean, I haven't enough
But it does make you think about, like, for example, and I've said this was an awkward moment when our little grandchild, Steve, was born. He's the 5th, or the 6th. The 6th.
Oh, okay.
And so...
And the family line. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, there's 6 Steves preceding him. Now, the thing is it kind of reminds me of that scene in Sleepless in Seattle when she's like, oh, that's a very formal name. Does he have anything that he goes by that's, like, less formal? Because baby Steve, it's just Steve. There's not Steven, nothing. And I'm like, that's so weird. And he doesn't have a middle name.
And Jerry did not want to name Jeff Jeffrey. He wanted
just Jeff.
And I wouldn't do it.
So is his official name Jeffrey?
His name is Jeffrey.
Oh, okay. But he goes by Jeff.
But Jerry absolutely refuses to call him that.
What's his middle name?
Dean.
Jeffrey Dean.
That's his dad's middle name.
I love it.
So it's Jerry Dean and Jeffrey Dean.
So
you know what? I didn't name it just like if his name would have been Alfred in the middle, I wouldn't have called him that.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I just happened to like Dean.
It's a great name.
And I thought it was a cute little spin on, my husband, when he dies, will be the end of their bloodline.
Not anymore.
Because he's the only man, right?
Not anymore.
So when we had our son, I was like, dang, you
need to give some kind of props.
I'm like, so I really wanted to name him. So they have the same initials, JDG.
I love it.
But they're just different.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. Anyway, I thought, this is just a weird random fact, but I thought it was cool. So now you'll know. Now every July 25th, you're like, it's my name day today. I'm getting cake. I'm having a cocktail for my name.
Yeah, I noticed all the frozen cupcakes you had in the freezer.
Okay, so...
Yeah, you said that was a one-time thing.
I know.
And now every time I look in your freezer, I'm like, there's fucking cupcakes.
Well, because Daryl goes, guess what? I go, what? Because when we went back to the grocery store...
Now you had to find those
ones.
Well,
there weren't any. And I'm like, oh, it was like somebody canceled an order or something. And they just happened to be there. And so... The other day, Daryl goes, guess what? I go, what? He goes, stashed in the back of the freezer section in our bakery are those cupcakes again. And I'm like... And he goes, I think we should get them. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay.
Well, you know what? It's cute. I think when your husband's mind is guilty of this all the time. They know you really want something,
but you'll never get it,
and you'll never get it. Yeah. And then once you do get it, or if they can find it, they're so happy to get it for you because they know you wanted it so bad.
And it's like the easiest $6 to make me happy,
right?
Yeah. He's like, no, you'll always have it, honey, whenever you want. I'm like, I hate you for wanting me fat, but thank you.
Yes, but it's the
I don't think you're fat. Like yesterday, or this morning.
They'll never say you're fat. We'll be 300 pounds and be like, you look great.
No, he would never. We have a pact. There is a limit to what he will accept.
Really?
Yes. And the thing is,
I find that difficult to believe with you.
Well, we have body dysmorphia. We think we're way bigger than we are, or I do. Anyway. And so
you've willed it onto your husband?
No, no. He's the opposite. He's like, I see you for who you are. You see something else, and I don't know what that is. I'm like, it's called mental abuse when you're a child and you're the fattest kid in the family.
Whatever.
And then you see pictures and you're like, I wasn't fat at all.
All.
It's so weird. Like,
but if somebody tells you you're fat and you're yeah, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
what do you mean? Dad had not seen me in 15 years, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "Oh, Stephanie's gotten so fat." I'm like, I'm
even.
135 pounds at the time.
And let me tell you something. That was our life.
Right.
I remember thinking I was really fat. I was 17 years old, and I thought, I'm so fat. And I looked down. I weighed 129 pounds.
You were not fat.
And I was morbidly obese in my brain.
And you know what I find hilarious is that the women that Dad has been with since Mom.
They are
fat. They're, like, not cute and not...
They're large.
Yes.
It's almost like... Do you do that so you
comparing?
can abuse them? I don't understand.
I don't know either, but I mean,
But it has carried
Mom was
on.
tiny and petite and
Mom was
skinny
very petite.
when they were married. So
She still is.
No, she is. You're right, but I
Yeah.
don't know if that was the standard in his mind of what he
I don't
thought
know.
he deserved.
I'm not
or
sure.
What.
So I'm sitting in bed this morning, and I turned to Daryl out of nowhere, and I go, I think my ass has gotten bigger. What do you think? He goes,
For the
Jamie,
love of
really?
God.
What? No, stop! It's 7:30
He's like,
in
we're
the
not
morning.
having this conversation today. Yes.
Stop! And I'm like, okay, God! I'm like, I thought we were emotionally cutting this morning. I had no idea.
I thought you were joining the party.
God! He's like, no. So anyway, and I do not fish for compliments.
Oh,
or
I don't
whatever.
either. Ever.
And I turned to him, I go, well, it's not all you're going to tell me anyway. He goes, it's a no-win for him.
True.
It's a no-win.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Would you? I often wondered this because here's the thing about my husband is that
He just shrugs his eye. He just shrugs. In
right
agreement.
when he's in the interest of peace,
Yeah.
when he's interested in peace,
Sure.
yes. However, I have the foulest mouth, and I am so mean.
I know you are.
I really am, and I'm not saying that proudly. I'm not
No, you're
boasting. I'm being very honest about the fact that I know that my tongue is like a razor blade.
And I will say this about you. You always feel bad at some point.
No, I don't.
With certain points. Yes, you do. Not everything you've said. But there will be one or two points you're like, I didn't need to do that.
It depends on who my venom is aimed at.
Sure.
With my husband, we have our issues. We've had our issues, and we've talked about this on
Yeah.
the show before.
Yeah.
About I have resentment issues.
Sure.
And because you and I know the particulars, you give me all of that. You're like,
course.
you absolutely deserve to be
Yeah.
resentful and all
100%.
of those things. So that being said, I somewhat feel entitled to cut him to the core as much as I possibly can. And because I've known him for my entire life,
There's
I know
a lot
how to
to
do
work
it.
with. There's a lot to
Yes.
work with. I know.
So you know what? But he will get to a point, and we've talked about this before, and I'm sure Daryl has his point, his where he will break down and just go there.
Yeah.
Like, I think you told me he called you a bitch once, and it was, 15 years ago, but you'll never forgive him for it. Like,
Yeah.
it was like,
Yeah.
I'll always remember that fight where you
I
called me
couldn't
the B
believe,
word.
because I was like, oh,
Yes.
what?
Right.
How dare you?
Now, we've called them names 1,000 times.
I've called him an asshole more times than I care to
Right?
admit.
But the one time they finally break and they say something and it's unexpected, we're like,
You're like,
so,
what?
Same
Yeah.
thing with Jerry. He has every once in a while, it's not even that he thinks it's true. It's just that he
He's like,
knows
he
it's
gets
the
to a
one
point
thing
he
that
can say.
would fucking make me nuts.
You're like, no! Well, for example, I finally figured out Daryl's code when he wants to try to tell me something constructively.
Right.
He does not think I'm fat.
I know he doesn't.
I mean, he truly doesn't.
I know.
And I appreciate that, and I know that everyone is not perfect. So,
Right.
I'm not wearing... Anyway, regardless, my point is that the one thing, and he has mentioned it, and I finally had an epiphany, and I cannot believe it took me this long. Because I'm like, I'm either
Well,
really dense, or I
because he was so subtle about it.
Yes.
Because it's a very dangerous place to be when you're married to a viper.
Yes. He thinks that I need to upgrade my wardrobe. He
okay.
does not like the fact that I have a lot of ratty clothes. And he has said,
Ratty as in they're old and you keep them? Or the style?
No. He doesn't think I dress poorly. I have a lot of shirts that have holes in them.
Oh, right.
I have leggings that are 12, 13
Same.
years old.
Yeah.
And to me, they're fine. So why
wear at home?
would I get rid of them?
Yeah.
But the problem is that he goes, it would be okay if you wanted to spend some money and buy some new shirts, And I go, why? And he goes, well, I mean, these have holes in them, and I'm just saying, you don't need to wear those. And I'm like, okay. So
And to us, it feels so frivolous. Like, why would I buy new shirts? I still like this one. It's comfortable, and he's going to see me in it.
Exactly. He has to see me in it.
Well, right.
And so the thing is that what makes it harder is that when...
we don't think about that, do we?
We don't. But what's harder is that when we do want to go out somewhere nice or do something, I don't have
anything.
a whole lot of stuff.
Same.
And so it's taken me like 5 years.
What is the
5
problem?
years where I finally go, okay, he's being really kind, and eventually, because he looks perfect every day.
That's true.
Because I dress him, I spend a lot of money on his clothes.
Yeah.
And, I got him he has an amazing haircut now.
Yes, he does.
All that stuff. And I don't spend money on myself.
Right.
I just don't. And so that's why
it seems wasteful.
it does seem wasteful. But like I was telling my
it's
daughter
not.
just the other day, I said, when you become a wife and a mother, or even if you're just in a relationship with somebody, when you're constantly thinking of your partner or your children, you are your last priority.
That's
and
true.
especially when you're a mom, no one's
100%.
going, what about you? And so
That's
you
true.
are the last person that you take care of. And guess what? It's really hard to get out of that habit when your kids are adults.
Right.
It's so crazy. And so now Daryl's like, we're not going to swim meets every day anymore. We're not going to places where it's okay to look like shit every day.
Because you're just doing the parent thing today on
So
Saturday
basically,
morning.
what he's saying is, you look like shit. Would you stop buying Target clothes and invest in a decent wardrobe so that I can take you out and you don't look like some ratty PTA mom?
Right.
And he legit is trying to say that. And finally, I'm like, you know what? He's being really nice about this. So what I'm saying is that if he really thought I needed to lose weight,
he would
take
figure
care
out
of
a
myself,
subtle, loving way of saying
he
it.
would. And the problem is now when he goes, hey, do you want to go on a walk tomorrow? I'm like, what are you trying to say?
Oh my God.
It has nothing to do with that.
He just really wants to go for a walk.
Well, he goes for walks twice a week.
I know he does.
And so he goes once a
Which
week
is great.
once a week with our daughter, and they have their deep discussions, which is amazing. And then we
is
go on a
amazing.
walk and we have a great time. The problem is I work out all the time.
Yeah.
He doesn't. So
Yeah.
the walk is for him, not me.
Well,
And we have great talks too.
I was
on
about
those
to
walks.
say, like, walks are one of those things where there's nothing else to do, so you just talk. And when your husband is literally your best friend,
Yes.
it's great.
Yes. So now that I've figured out his subtleties, if he truly thought I needed to lose weight, I know how he would tell me. He has been very clear that I need to stop looking like shit in the clothing department.
Okay, so
And
did you
so-
buy some stuff?
I have slowly been buying things.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, like I said, I struggle spending money. And,
Especially, God.
it's like a couple of things. I've bought a couple of things.
Buying clothes I used to love buying clothes.
Me too.
When I was young and thin and where I thought I was thin, people still were like, people at work all the time. I'm like, God, I feel so fat right now. I hate it. I can't
like,
wear anything.
what?
And they're like, you're not fat. Like, why are you saying that?
Because that's how we were raised. It has
Right.
nothing to do with reality.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, you're right.
It doesn't.
But I was 105 pounds for 100 years, and now I'm not.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm huge, Yeah. But I mean, that's just so unrealistic and stupid.
It is stupid.
And so, but if you feel that way, then it just feels like a waste to spend money on things that you look like shit in everything.
when you feel like you do. Yeah,
Sure.
For
It's
sure.
rare that I feel like hot when I'm walking out the door.
You know
so
what?
rare.
I think this pandemic has really done a number on me because I don't even think about myself that. I mean, I know I'm feminine and I don't think I'm ugly or anything
No,
like
not at
that,
all.
but I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't care in the sense that I'm not taking care of myself.
Yes, right.
It's just
Oh
that
my
I don't
God, we've
I don't
seen
give a
those
shit
girls.
what. And I told Darren, I'm like, I don't
anyone
give a
thinks.
shit what anybody thinks. And he's like, men look at you all the time. I'm like, no, they don't. Shut up.
Yes,
He's
they
like, yes,
do.
they do. And I'm
Yeah.
like, whatever. It's the big boobs. It has nothing to do with anything.
That's not true. But
Right.
You're right.
Anyway,
I mean, that's part of it, but that's not all of it.
but I do appreciate the effort that he's making. And now I can't believe it just took me 24 years to see what he was trying to say. And so it's nice, right?
Well, it is nice.
Because I am very straightforward with him. I'm like, you know what? You need to cut back on the beer. You see that little Buddha belly you got going on? Any bigger? And this great thing we've got
Yeah.
going on is over.
I mean, the other
Can
day.
you imagine if he said that to
No,
me?
I told Jerry the other day.
Oh my God.
I go, what's the deal? Are you growing a forest out of your nose, or are you blind? And you just can't see when you're in the bathroom because you're not wearing your glasses? Because I don't get it. What's
Because,
going
like,
on?
do you expect me to kiss that hair?
Well,
What are we doing?
the funny thing is I've reflected on why I think that's perfectly acceptable to say things like that, and why would he know better? Because for the first 15 years we were married, I did it for him. I literally groomed him because I felt like he was too stupid to know
Little monkeys.
what to do. I'm like,
Yes.
I get it. You just don't know. No one ever
Yeah.
told you that these things were important, but they are.
Right.
And let me show you how to do it.
It's like the day that someone told me eyebrows were important. I'm like, what?
Right.
I had no
Oh
idea.
my God, same. Forever.
I hate being that naive, and I feel so dumb.
My friends at work, I mean, it's literally like a craft.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
what shape your eyebrows are.
Yeah.
Do you pencil them? Do you not pencil them? My girlfriend got a tattoo, and I'm like, wait a minute. Why is
Yep.
this a big deal? And I'm like, okay, so I'm a
You're the only
snuffleupagus.
one. You're the only one. Did I tell you that I shaved my face?
Yes. We talked about it on the show last time.
Okay, so I shaved it again the other day, and I'm like, you know what? I'm never not doing this again, because you know what I
God,
noticed?
now you're making me self-conscious. Same.
You know what I noticed is that when I went to go back and get rid of the peach fuzz that was growing back, I'm like, okay, so it's definitely growing back as peach fuzz. It's not
didn't grow
darker.
back a thick beard.
However, I have a couple of rogue dark hairs over my lip, and I'm like, what is that?
You told me.
And they were growing back. I'm like, okay, this is like,
What is happening?
Am I gonna have to get electrolysis?
I mean,
I don't want that.
That's the next step.
Well, I'm not gonna electrolysize my peach fuzz. That's ridiculous.
Do people do that?
I have no idea.
Well, you better find out, because
Oh, God.
you're moving up on the level
I don't
of.
want to do it.
You're doing facials and what's that stuff called? That retinol?
Botox?
No.
Oh, retinol?
Restylane.
I'm not doing fillers.
No. Okay,
No.
what's the
I'm just doing Botox. Oh, retinol.
retinol?
You should be doing retinol.
I should be.
And by the way,
I have $180, but yeah.
Okay, well, here's
I
the thing.
will.
Oh, no.
It's all about priorities.
Mom was like,
Ceramide.
Sarah B, it's $20, and it's the number.
Wow.
It's the number 3 retinol available. The first 2 you have to go to a spa,
Yeah.
and they're fine. She goes, well, the one I'm using is the number 1, but
I'm surprised she didn't say she was allergic to it.
Sarah B is number 3, and she's like, it's only $20, and you can get it on Amazon,
Yeah.
and it's equally as good. And so I'm
Have
like,
you talked to her since she started using it?
no, but I'm afraid to, because I'm afraid she's going to go, oh, I broke out.
Yeah, she's totally going to say that.
I don't want her to.
She's 100% going to say, you should see what it did to my face.
I don't want to hear it.
She's going to. And by the way, tell her if she wants to kick down what she didn't use, I'm right here.
By the way, and so I was looking at one of my favorite celebrity makeup artists, Jamie Greenberg.
Okay.
She does Kaylee Cuoco's makeup.
Oh.
And other
Yeah.
people, but she's amazing, and she is getting older too. She's in her 40s, and she's just like, if you aren't using retinol and you're over the age of 40, what are you doing? Get it.
Yikes.
And she's like, it clears your skin, it evens out the tone, it
Yeah.
removes fine line wrinkles, like it's the whole thing. And
Right.
so, heads up if you're over 40. Actually, they say that you should start in your 30s.
Well-
because it's really mild. It's not bad. It's not like a chemical peel. It's just a thing, and I don't know what it is. It's a miracle, and I agree.
I wonder what it is. Like, what
I don't
is
know.
in it?
I'm not sure, and we're a little late to the party because we've
Yeah.
been very lucky with good skin, so we didn't really think about it. But I'm really glad that I'm using it now. But anyway,
Yeah, for sure.
one thing I wanted to ask you, actually, this is kind of a shift.
Okay.
Is we're going to talk about greatest pleasures, non-sexual pleasures. But before we get into that, there was something,
Why do I struggle with that so bad?
I don't know, but I'll tell you mine, and then I'm sure
I mean, I kept going to sexual things.
you'll
I'm
be
like,
triggered.
Stop it.
No, you'll be triggered.
No,
you'll,
I did
you'll
think
remember.
of a couple, but I mean, it was much harder than I thought it would be.
Are there really that many sexual pleasures? I mean, really?
No. I was thinking of moments, not necessarily like that. I like this one thing. I was thinking,
right.
oh, that time that happened.
I see.
That kind of thing.
Sure. Okay, so I've been meaning to ask you this for a while because I know, regardless, you're married, you guys have had great times, wonderful
have.
memories.
It's really easy to talk about the bad things
course.
and the
Well,
annoying things your husbands do. Right?
However, Daryl and I, because I'm so morbid, and by the way, there are reasons why I'm so morbid, which psychologically that I didn't know, that I just found out about.
Oh.
People who are super morbid and they're constantly preparing for death or doom, they usually have PTSD.
Oh.
And they think,
Shocking.
you think in your brain that if I continually prepare emotionally for it, that when it actually happens, I'll be able to handle it.
Yeah.
And
I've
that's
actually-
not true. It's a
and
lie.
I'm wondering if you've
And it is
done
a lie.
this. Have you ever been able to actually almost feel
Yes.
the pain of death
I have actually
or impact or something like that?
I have openly wept over the death of Daryl. I have openly wept, not in front of him, but I have cried to the point where it felt so real. And I'm like,
Oh.
what am I doing to myself? He's alive. He's downstairs being annoying.
Right.
Why? But anyway, in those
Seriously.
moments where I forced him to, and he just goes, God, Jamie, really again? And so I said,
Same.
there are places that he is not allowed to take his new bride. So like if I die and he gets remarried,
Ask Dwayne the dog Chapman about that.
well, that's the point. So
It's real easy to make those promises when you're sitting right next to him.
so I said, well, and I have to make those promises too, by the way.
But I mean, I'm just saying, are these just things that we agree to do to each other or say that we're going to do when we're alive? And then once you're dead, it's like all bets are off.
well, I don't think that
Because
Daryl,
what are you going to do? Are you going to stop him?
No. You know what? If
Are you
anybody,
going to haunt him?
If anybody could, it would be me. But no.
Well, I'm just saying.
No, but so we have vowed that there are a couple of places that no matter what happens, we will not take another person.
Not to interrupt you, but here's the thing. I will say that of all the people that will probably keep these promises, it would be Daryl.
I know.
Because he would be so riddled with guilt.
Oh, he couldn't do it.
Of the thought of going to your lagoon with
Right?
another woman.
Exactly.
It would kill him.
And you know how I fixed that, by the way? I told him that when I die and you cremate me, because I'm going to be cremated.
Yes, that's how I know this, because you told me.
I'm going to have
I didn't know you guys had a lagoon.
put the ashes in the sand of the lagoon in Hawaii, and that way every time you go with our children, I'll be there.
Right.
And he's like, oh, that's really sweet. I
With
like
your
that.
children.
Yeah.
Not
he
with
can take
another
them anywhere.
woman.
He can obviously take them anywhere. And I said, so when you bring our children to this lagoon, for the rest of your life, I will be there with you. And he's like, oh, I really like that. That's really loving.
It is.
And you'll never be able to bring a hoe ever. Because you'll be
You're
like,
ruined.
my wife is here.
It's
We're
so
having
true.
Mai Tais by Derek. I mean, it's over. He
Well,
can't.
I mean, I
it's
hope-
ruined.
Okay.
Well, is there any place like that for you guys? Like, is there any place that you would go that you couldn't take another person?
I could, but I would probably
Like, you wouldn't be
feel
able to-
strange.
Where? Like one place.
Like the Argonaut Hotel.
Okay, there you go.
It's
The
right-
Argonaut
yeah.
is your place.
It is our place.
Yes.
And we have a suite that we always get,
Yeah.
and it would be very difficult. I mean, I would probably, I don't know, I just don't think I would enjoy it the same.
You know what? Like when I think about places like that, I go, you know what? I would go there, but I would go alone, or I'd go with like
Children.
kids.
Yeah,
I'd be
yeah.
like, your dad loved this place.
100%.
You know, stuff like that. And so when I think about that for Daryl, I'm like, no, I don't want you to like never go there again.
Yeah.
But I want you to go and be happy. So
Right.
don't bring some whore.
Right.
Bring your kids and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I have been very clear because of my weird psychological trauma that I'm so convinced that I'm going to die before Daryl.
I know, right?
That I told him, I'm like, I want you to have another life. I want you to fall in love again. I want you to enjoy all of these things.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But the thing is, you can't mentally prepare for that stuff.
No.
You can't.
And I think it's...
You
whatever-
think you can, but you can't, Nemo.
No, and whatever happens when it does happen to you is not, you can't plan that either. I mean, that's why I say, we make these promises to each other,
Yes.
to our spouses, to one another, and it's like, honestly,
you can't-
if something
you can't-
happened,
You can't hold them to it. No.
you really can't, because you just don't know how they're going to respond
So-
or react.
Speaking of couples, so yes, J-Lo and Ben Affleck look amazing.
So they made their red carpet debut.
They made their debut, their official debut.
for, what is it? It's
the Venice Film Festival.
right.
But so it's already Italy. Everything's romantic and gorgeous. And we were
Of
just
course.
talking about Italy
Well, and
earlier.
they've been there for a while because
Yes.
there's been photos.
Yes, there has.
Posting for like the last week.
It's so funny because everything I see, it's like everybody says don't go back with your ex, but then you look at J-Lo and Ben Affleck, you're like, well,
I mean, I fully believe that sometimes relationships have a time and place.
Yes.
Or, and maybe they weren't in the right place at the first time
weren't.
around.
They weren't. And you know what
And
else?
It's been a long time.
it has so much has changed.
Right.
Paparazzi is not a thing anymore. It's not like it used to be. Like before, you could walk down the street and be surrounded by 50 people.
Yeah.
And although that probably still happens on occasion.
Oh, for J-Lo, she is surrounded by paparazzi.
Right, but they have found ways to elude
That's true.
a lot of it unless you want them to.
Absolutely.
And so because
And it's all
of
part
that,
of their profession. Like, they know when they
Right.
want to be in the pops and when they
Exactly.
don't. And
Exactly.
Yeah, they need exposure.
So,
and
for me, it's like watching them. I'm like, if this was what was meant to be this whole time, and it's finally now they're mature, they're sober, or whatever Ben
Yeah.
is. Now it's like I wish them the best.
I wish them the best too.
I do.
I'm always cautiously
I'm-
optimistic.
I'm such a fan of J-Lo.
Well, we
I love
are.
her so
I
much.
love her.
Yes.
And honestly, although Ben has a shady, I don't want to say a shady past,
He has
but I mean,
a lot of addictive issues.
he has addiction issues.
Yes,
He's
did
had
or
some
does.
tumultuous relationships.
Yeah, he loves
Um,
the horrors.
Well, what's her name is not a whore.
No, not Jen Garner.
Yeah,
I mean the ones
God,
that
I
know
love her.
the ones that don't last. Those
Yeah,
ones.
the ones that are on the airplanes,
like the
with-
slutty nanny and
with
all that
Epstein,
shit.
yeah,
Mhm.
right.
The ones that allow him to be a total addict.
Yeah, and that just indulge him because he's famous and
And rich.
and
Yep.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
We hate you whores. We hate
But
you.
J-Lo does not drink, and she's
no.
very dedicated to her children. And and Alex Rodriguez cannot. The dude is such a jerk. He's such a jerk.
Well, I would love to know what he did.
Well, he fucked around.
He had to have, because she is so over him.
It's hilarious how quickly that Ben came in the picture, though. She's like,
well,
you know what?
I agree with you.
But you know what? I don't think there was any
I don't think
silliness.
they were sexting.
No.
I think they were friends.
They've been friends. They kept in touch because they probably genuinely wish the best of for each other.
Yep.
And then she's just like, can you believe A-Rod was fucking around with some hussy? He's like, what? And she goes, Ben, are you available? He's like, I'm already there, babe.
It was probably one of those things where it's like,
He's been waiting.
I'm sure he's been waiting, but or maybe not. Like maybe he never saw this coming, you know, or maybe he had some preliminary idea that they were having problems. But you never really know when an ex is going to actually break up,
right?
And so for him, he may have thought, well, this is her man, like this is the guy she's going to be with,
and right. And they were trying really
hard
to
make it work. And
Yeah.
then she needed a friend. And there really is, if you end something on good terms, there really is nothing better than an old lover or boyfriend as a friend
who
when
knows
you're
you
single.
well. It's
yeah,
true.
right.
It's
As long as
true.
he didn't burn her or screw her over,
And they didn't. They did not. That did not happen.
Yeah. So then there's no resentment.
Yeah, and you know what I always love is they always have to get the take on the ex, and Jen Garner's like, I'm very happy for Ben.
I think
what is she? She's legitimately glad. She's like, he's sober. He's a great dad. What more? I'm married already. Like, who cares?
she's married.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know she was married.
Yeah, she got remarried.
Well, good for her.
Yes, everybody's fine. Everyone's fine.
Well, she is living her best life. Jen Gardner is
gorgeous.
She's
gorgeous,
gorgeous,
amazing, and she's brilliant,
and she's still successful.
Very.
And for a woman being in Hollywood, it's so hard to keep your career going when you hit a certain age. I mean, think of all the ones you don't see anymore.
I know.
But so for her, I'm really happy that she's doing her her Capital One commercials.
Oh my God, they love her. Capital One loves her.
Well, I love her too.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
it's a great endorsement for her.
I have a Capital One.
Yeah, I think we've all had one at one point or another.
Okay, so here we go. You and I were talking about I saw some little article about the greatest pleasures and non-sexual. And I said, I can think of some.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you could, because you tasked me with doing it, and I was finding it difficult. I'm like, God.
So I'll give you the reason that it became. So I was reading other people's greatest pleasures. I'm like, none of those do it for me. But I do have moments where I can think of where it physically gives me pleasure.
Yeah.
Not sexual pleasure, but it physically gives me pleasure to even think about it.
Like euphoria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of them are when I'm alone.
Okay.
None of them involve
Fair.
others because I crave solitude so regularly.
Same.
I need it. And so when I get it and it's like unexpected, I'm like, what?
This is the best.
So one of the number one greatest pleasure, and I know I'm not alone, a lot of women would agree with this, but it is, and I used to get it all the time when Daryl would travel, was taking the best shower ever. My legs couldn't be shaved cleaner.
There's no time restraints.
I mean, it feels like silk. My legs feel like silk. I come out of the shower. I lotion myself.
No one's going to walk in on you.
Nope. And then...
No one's knocking on the door. Hello?
Nothing. And then I've got some horrible show on.
Oh, God.
And I slip into the cleanest cotton sheets of my life.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And I'm like, I smell good. I feel good. I'm watching the show I want to watch.
No one's going to come barging in
the middle of the bed.
And ask anything of me.
And I snoodle in, and the last thing on my mind is sex. Because
right?
no one's going to ruin this for me.
No.
Now, if Daryl was here, he'd be like, I want to devour this moment. I'm like, get out!
Yes, God, no.
But it is about as girly as it gets.
Yeah.
And I relish it. And I mean,
Same.
I smile, and I'm like, no one can ruin this moment for me.
It's
this
literally the best.
the greatest pleasure of all.
It's so rare. I think that's one of the reasons why it's so amazing. God.
I just love it.
I can't even tell you the last time I had that luxury.
I can't either.
I wish I could buy it.
You can't. And that's why it's so great. You can't. It's an experience.
Can I pay you to go out of town for one night?
No.
Oh my
God.
God.
So there's that. That is my number one greatest pleasure.
And it's not because you don't want to be with them,
No,
by the way.
it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But
It's a completely selfish moment.
In this day and age, they would call that self-care.
I know, right?
Yeah.
God forbid.
They'd call it self-care. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. And you never sleep better than you do that night.
Oh, so true.
It's the best. So that's that is my number one greatest pleasure.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Do you have one like that? Outside, because I know you would do that one too.
I have.
Yes,
yeah, it's just been a really long time since I've gotten to do that. Well, mine usually involve food.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why food for me is especially is because I live in a household with such restrictive taste buds.
Yes.
So it's very rare that I really get to indulge in something that I would really want to eat.
Yeah,
like,
that's a little little next level.
I always feel like I'm compromising.
Yeah.
Like I have to eat what everybody else is eating because it just doesn't make sense to make a full other
gourmet
meal. Yeah,
yummy,
for me.
unusual meal that no one's going to go, ew, what's this gray stuff?
Absolutely. and because I have to be the one to cook everything.
Right.
The effort involved to do that 2 times is just,
Oh, God.
I don't have the energy for it 99.9% of the time.
And every woman with multiple children will go, this is not a diner!
Right.
We don't have a menu!
I can't tell you how many times the word "I'm not a maid" comes out.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I mean that. And so for me, when I do have moments where I'm either traveling with one of you guys,
Yeah.
or I'm alone and or we go to a restaurant, those are always great because you can order whatever you want. But I will never forget the moment that Lauren and I, my daughter, discovered basically Japanese food in general, but sushi specifically.
Okay.
At a genuine sushi place.
Real
it was a
sushi
sushi restaurant. Yes. That's all they pretty much did. And it was amazing. And it was very authentic. And it was almost like I felt high. It was like I was like dizzy. It was
like, this is
so fantastic.
Oh, wow.
And because there was absolutely no pressure on me for making sure everybody else was happy.
Yes.
One thing I love about my daughter is that we're very, very similar.
So she's in her own world doing her thing.
Well, I mean, we're just same.
Yeah.
Like anything we want, like anything I think of or she thinks of, we're both like, oh my God, absolutely.
Oh,
yes.
that's great.
Yes.
That's great.
So everything we order, no matter who orders it, we both
We'll
love.
love it.
Mhm.
Yes.
So it's like when we first started doing that, I think it was the first or second time. Maybe I was a little unsure, but after we started getting our groove and our
You're
rhythm,
like, oh yeah.
it was like a thing we couldn't wait to do.
So sushi, the first bite of that
oh my God,
sushi.
we're hella sneaking out today. You're not going to school, and this is what we're doing.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
We did.
I love it.
It was the best feeling ever. Everyone else is at work or school.
That's
no one knows
crazy.
where we are. We're doing our own thing. Yeah, it was
Enjoying
it was
this
just
delicious
literally
sushi.
the best.
Oh, I love it.
And being so overindulgent that it was obnoxious. It's like,
So what?
who eats a whole tekkadon to their head? Now, a tekkadon is a giant bowl of rice with ahi tuna on top of it.
Oh my
It's
God.
literally meant for a family. It's like a family
You're
meal.
like, no, this is mine.
That's my entree.
Yeah.
And
That's
Lauren was
amazing.
like, go girl.
Yeah.
Like, no judgment.
No,
That's one of
my
the best
God,
things
that
about
sounds
having adult
amazing.
children.
It's true. It is a bonus. My second thing is dumb, but I don't care. It's a great pleasure for me, and I do not care if I'm at some place outdoor where you're still allowed to smoke. Mm-hmm. If someone lights a cigarette, that brand new lit cigarette smell, I take a deep whiff. Oh. I love the smell of a newly lit cigarette.
It does smell good.
I can like
Yeah.
get it in my butt. I mean, and I don't smoke.
No, you never have.
I did briefly, but I mean,
Oh, really?
I did when I was in my early 20s. I was smoking Marlboro Lights,
Oh,
and
geez.
they were.
You know what? I think I remember this.
it was it was like a summer.
Yeah, I think I remember this
fact-
because I was like, Jamie, stop it.
You did.
I was
you
like,
did.
because I smoke like a fucking chimney.
And you know what's interesting is I can tell you exactly the day I quit. I was dating some complete loser, and
Which one?
we were at a bar, and we both smoked, and we were sitting at the bar smoking, and I thought that was so cool. And I smoked, and I was able to inhale and exhale, and it didn't bother me.
Oh, yeah.
And I went, you know what? I'm done.
That's how it goes.
I'm like, I'm done. I do not want to be a smoker, and this got really easy really fast.
It is.
And
It's
so I
so
quit.
easy.
I legit quit, and
Good.
I never did it again.
Good.
And I was like,
You
but
saved your life.
but that smell of a newly lit cigarette that someone else lights
Oh, God.
smells amazing.
It is the best.
And Joe's like, what are you doing? And I every time,
like,
because he goes, ew, I smell cigarette. I'm like,
That's Jerry.
Oh, it smells so good.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm really glad that I didn't, because I could see me just enjoying that first puff.
Yeah.
Every time, you know.
Yeah, it's true. Well,
just
I mean,
love
that's
it.
why people who smoke and then quit, I mean, it's one of the biggest triggers
It's
that
so
you for going
hard.
back.
I
Because you
know.
smell it and you're like, oh my God. Like,
It smells
you can't-
amazing.
like,
And
you
I don't know
can't
why it
stop.
smells so good. I don't
I don't know,
what
but
that
I mean,
is.
you know, nicotine use is like a
Yeah.
multi-billion-dollar industry for a reason.
You know what they say? They say that if they could put nicotine in a pill, they would eradicate antidepressants.
I agree with that.
And it's true.
Absolutely.
And when will they? Can someone please?
I know, right?
Because it would be great.
I would do it.
I don't know. I'm convinced that a lot of times they don't do things like that.
Well,
They know people are dying from cigarettes.
They do,
and they know it kills us, but they still do their best to sell it and make it cool and make it taste good. And
That's true.
Yeah, they don't care if it kills you.
They don't.
So, well, my other one would
Yes.
be the other thing that I love, and this reminds me because your little spawn was just here earlier, and she's going on vacation.
Yes.
And it did make me have a thought about. I'm like, one of the other things that I did and that I wouldn't do now necessarily.
Yes.
Because it's not good for you, but I remember the feeling of putting Tropicana coconut oil on in the summertime.
Yes.
Like slathering your whole body. The smell, for one, is like
Oh
intoxicating.
my God, I love it. It
And
reminds
then
me of
laying
summer.
out in the sun.
You know what? And that
With
sun,
oil.
That sun feels so good.
It feels so good. And if you're at a pool or you're on vacation, is there anything better than laying there in the
No!
sun with your sunglasses on and having had a cocktail, so you're a little sleepy. The sun feels so good. You're laying next to water where it's kind of cool. And it's
so good.
literally the best feeling ever.
It's the best.
But now I would be like, oh, all I'm doing is literally laying here getting cancer. Like, that's what I would be thinking now.
Well, now because we know more.
Yeah.
But
In fact, can you even buy Tropicana coconut oil
Oh,
anymore?
yeah.
Really? Do they still sell it?
yes, they sell it. It smells amazing. And you know what that smell reminds me of is summers when we were kids.
Yeah, that's what
And
I'm
it's
saying.
like
And it gives you the most golden skin tone. The tan is the best.
we're like little turkeys in an oven
Basting in the sun.
with browned skin.
100%. But I couldn't consciously do it now because I'm so terrified of death. And I
Yeah.
just don't want cancer.
I don't either.
I'm so scared of it.
Now that mom's had skin cancer, we're like freaking out. Every
Right.
bowl I go, I don't think this
You know,
is
I've
normal.
always been like that, though, with skin
Oh,
cancer.
totally. We
I've
all
literally
have.
been afraid of
Well,
it
we're
for
very
like,
fair skinned.
Yeah, we are.
So you worry.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
worry. Okay, those are really good ones. And the only other one, it's literally like the first one, which I realized when I was reading, I'm like, this is literally the same thing, where it's like those first 5 minutes when you're completely alone and you know that no one's coming.
Oh, my God.
I smile and walk around the house going, oh my God.
God,
But
same.
I don't know. I would be really curious to know what other people's greatest pleasures were that had nothing to do with being inundated with family and children and husbands or wives. Like,
Right.
what is it? What would a greatest pleasure be? Although I will say, when I was living alone, when it was just me, Tyler would go to his dad's for the weekend and I'd be by myself.
Yeah.
I still...
One of the few bonuses of being a single mother.
I never wanted to go
Seriously.
out. I wanted
know.
to just be at home by myself. And
It's true.
I just think that's just who I am. Because I would get harassed at 10 o'clock. Where are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm at home in my bed watching TV. And they're just like, it's Friday night. You need to meet us. And I'm like, no, I don't want to.
No,
They're
I
like, do
actually
it.
don't. Yeah, no.
I used to cave.
I mean, I caved too, and I have to say that the times that I caved, I was glad.
I always was glad.
But at the same time, though, looking back, and I'm like, you know what?
I was just tired. Why didn't I just stay home?
right? I'm like, God, you were so lucky.
I didn't meet my husband in a bar.
Right?
It's fine.
The only other thing I can think of where you might, which is a really, really great feeling, and it doesn't even matter who's around, is when you get a new puppy. A puppy, not a dog, not a cat that
it's
you inherited, but
true.
getting a new puppy, your
It's so
own
true.
puppy, is, I can't think of something that makes you feel,
It's so joyous.
it's the best.
because they're so grateful.
they're grateful and they
they wanna
love
love
you,
you.
and oh my God, their breath smells good,
Oh my
and their
God.
fur is so clean.
You're like, I just want to kiss you and love you all the time.
And it's, oh my God.
You're right.
Literally the
You're
best.
right. And there's no such thing as a bad one. They're all good puppies.
When they're little, yes. Like
you know
my
what?
puppy's 8 months now, okay?
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned this a few months ago when we were talking about having a puppy. I'm like, you know, he hasn't done anything. His breath still smells good.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything disgusting yet.
Right.
Well,
They're like babies.
he has now.
Of course he has.
Now he wants to lick his penis constantly.
You're like, stop
and
it! I hate you!
Eat cat shit out of the
Oh,
box.
yes.
and,
They
you
all
know,
do that. Oh, yeah.
Sniff the butts of my cats.
Oh, my God.
All things to where when they come up and he wants to look me in the face, I'm like, no.
Absolutely
no,
not.
It's
You're
not happening.
disgusting.
I
Go brush
just
your-
saw what you were doing to socks, all right? Stop it.
so true.
And I don't mean the kind that are on your feet. I'm talking about my cat.
That would equally be as disgusting, by the
Well,
way.
yes, I found
Either
my
one.
underwear and places where he, like, on his little dog bed. I'm like, why are my... never mind.
I don't
I'm
wanna
like, you
hear
know
it.
what?
Do you know Sunny used to eat the
crotch?
crotch out of my underwear? I went
That's
through
a
so much
Sheltie thing.
It is.
Because I had a Sheltie that did that too.
I'm like, why? Why?
know.
It's so gross.
And it's just, it changes your perspective on your sweet, cute little puppy
well, what's
after
funny
that.
is
You're like,
"Ah!"
"Ah!"
you're like, what is wrong with me that you're doing that?
No, they would do it to anyone.
Well, and what's funny, and Daryl's like, well, I understand. I'm like, you're disgusting. Shut up.
disgusting.
You're disgusting. God.
That's such a guy thing.
It It is such a guy thing. But
Oh
you know
my
what's
God.
hysterical is that kittens aren't the same way. Kittens are like terrified all the time. They're like, where the fuck am I? What is this? Like, they just
That's
don't even
true.
like meow meow. And it's like, I don't know what to do with you. You're so cute. And they're like, I hate it here. You know, they're hiding. You know, they're mad.
I've had kittens. Well, they do eventually get playful, but when they're teeny tiny, you're right. They are like that.
They're just very
They really,
upset.
you know, once they become juveniles.
I don't like change.
That's true.
They're neurotic.
So true.
Crazy.
Well, Jerry always.
They're hiding always. It's
Jerry
like,
has
God.
a way of phrasing things that is so disgustingly articulate
Oh, okay.
that it's not a good thing always.
Oh, what'd he say?
Well, it's funny. Like we were talking about the underwear thing. I don't know under what circumstances he said this, but he's like, well, you know, girls' underwear are like a science experiment.
Excuse me?
Yeah. So it's like he's not wrong, but to say it out loud and in that way, it's like it's offensive. Yeah.
I'd be like, you know what?
This was so long ago.
I know.
This is also the same man that told me it's just sex that washes off in the shower.
That's what you have to tell yourself, asshole.
Right? So when I heard him say that, this was 100 years
I know,
ago.
you're like,
literally.
oh, really?
20 plus years ago, I'm like, you fucking pig. Yeah, I mean, and to this day, when it pops up, look how long it's been since he said it. He doesn't even remember.
You lord it over him.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Oh, don't
so
worry.
How
It
many
just
times
washes
have you? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
That's so funny.
Well, it may be like that for them because they have dicks and everything's exterior.
Everything's outside.
Right. But for women, it's
not like
no.
that.
Yeah, we do not
It's
think
true.
that.
Remember
Well,
when we were younger and we could not understand why men, you know, take a shit, get out. Why is it a 45-minute ordeal? Take a shit, get out.
I know.
I'm in and out 5 minutes tops.
It's never an ordeal for me.
I'm in and
I mean,
I'm
unless
out.
we're lactose intolerant
Well, I
or we've
mean,
eaten fettuccine
okay.
Alfredo. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, in
But
general,
for the most part, yeah, if it's just normal, healthy, everyday stuff,
let's
it's
just
not,
do it. Just
yeah,
do it.
you know what? And Jerry
Get
doesn't
out.
get it because I always know, we've had this discussion before, because he's in there so freaking long.
Like, what are you doing in there?
I have knocked on the door and been like, it has been 45 minutes.
Are you alive?
God, he's like, I mean,
He gets mad.
no, he doesn't get mad. He's so modest. He's like embarrassed.
yeah.
He's like, oh God, you know, like don't point it out, you know. And I'm like, God, I know. I'm
like,
such
do you
an
need prune
asshole.
juice?
God, I know, but I'm like, he doesn't even know when I do it. It's probably a mystery because he's like,
Yeah.
because I'm in there for 5 minutes.
Well, we just don't make it a memorable event. It's like,
yeah. I mean,
it's
I
something
could
that-
have just peed and he wouldn't have known the
something
difference.
that we're required to do. We're all human. We understand, but we go in, we get it done, we're out, we move on with our
Yes.
day. It's not like, everyone, I am going to defecate.
And then every time I do, or every time he does, and it comes up, and I'm like, God, I just don't get what you're doing in there all that time. It's so long. Like, are you really pushing that long?
What's funny?
Like, what the fuck? And he's like, I'm 66 years old.
You made my glasses
Shut up. I'm like, okay, because he's like, you just don't know. You just wait.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm like, well, what is happening that I don't know? He's like, I'm not talking about this.
I
And then
can't
he'll
tell you.
storm off.
How many times? Because Daryl, he just will like just be gone, and all of a sudden I'm like, hello.
Oh, and he's probably like, God damn it.
And then all of a sudden I hear this, whoosh, and I'm like, what are you doing? Never mind. He's like, God, I'm just trying to go to the bathroom. But I'm like,
Can I have a minute?
It's been 20 minutes. I didn't know where you were. We were having a conversation, and then suddenly you were gone. I'm talking to the air, and I didn't know where you went. He's like, well, excuse me for having to be a human being.
I mean, could we?
Like, I'm sorry.
Women are we're efficient in every possible way.
Very.
possible. We're like, look, I'm not going in there if I'm on the cusp, okay? I'm going in there because I am sure this is happening.
I have mere moments to get it done.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't need to go in there and pause and think about it and work it out. No. If I'm going in there, it's happening.
It's done and done.
Right?
I'm in and I am out.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and I'm just like, God, I always wonder, is men's plumbing different?
No.
Like, no, they're just taking their sweet time. They're like, I think my stomach kind of hurts, and maybe it's time to kind of make my way. God, it's like, Jesus, it's crazy.
Well, I mean, my son has to bring a fucking book in there, and he's like, God, he's 9.
I'm like, do you need more
It's like
vegetables?
he has to work up to it. I'm like, God, what?
It's the weirdest thing
It is.
ever.
So it just goes to show you that my 9-year-old son will be the same version of all these other men, and his father,
That's hilarious.
it's just a thing.
We're going to do some ugly and awkward moments of the week, and
Okay.
we're going to say goodbye.
Good. I
Because I know you guys are all sick of us.
Well, no, Daryl probably is really sick of us. He's right about now.
Well, it was funny because
like, shut up!
I said, hey, we're coming down for cocktails and we're going to record our second show. And he goes, you haven't done that yet? I'm like, no. He goes, it's been 2 hours. And I'm like,
Oh,
sorry,
well, you know.
okay? I'm like, I'm sorry, I haven't seen her in 3 weeks. We had a lot to talk about.
That's true. Yeah, because I did delay.
Okay, ugly and awkward moments of the week, bad dates.
Oh,
which
God.
are my favorite.
I thought we were doing ugly. Okay.
Oh!
No, we could do ugly.
No, forget it. We are doing ugly and awkward moments of the week because we both have awkward moments.
So mine is it's kind of, it's just a small one, but it's typical of an ugly that this would happen, and only to me. And what really pissed me off about it is this is something that I make a deliberate attempt to avoid at all costs.
Right.
Yes. I mean, it's a thing. It's a pet peeve, and I'm sure it's yours too. So on my day off, Jerry and I both decided to go pick up our son from school. He loves it when we both come to school.
Oh, yeah,
it's so rare
so
rare that we do it. So we decided to go, and it was 104 that day. It was very hot, and because it's such a short drive from my house to my son's school, your air conditioner barely has a chance.
It's just kicking in.
It's just getting cold, because it's like 2 minutes to the school. So I knew I was going to be hot as fuck. I was a little bit annoyed because Jerry's like, well, why don't you come with me? And I'm like, like, really? Okay, fine. I'll put on my freaking flip-flops and drag my fat ass and go. So as I'm leaving, I grab a cold glass, and we keep cold water in the fridge. I fill it up. I get a straw. So I know I have something cold to drink in the car while we're going over there, and I'm sweating. And so I'm drinking it, and it's like, this is great. I'm like, do you want a drink? He's like, no, I'm good. My son gets in the car. I'm like, honey, do you want, Mommy brought cold water. Do you want some? He's like, okay. So I hand him the glass, and then the next thing I know, I hear, why are there things floating in this?
What? Oh, my God.
My heart stopped. I was
You're
like, wait, what?
What?
I'm like, okay.
What things?
I got this out of the cabinet. I know it's clean.
It's
you know,
clean.
I knew, yeah. So I grab it, I look at it.
You're getting sick. What is it?
Well, so
Shit!
I don't
What
even
is
know if I
it?
can get it out.
Oh, God.
God damn it. So
Think of it. Just think of something else while you're talking. What was it? Food?
wait.
God, you're so bad.
So it was curdled milk.
No!
The only thing worse would be like a bug or something. But curdled milk is really like at the top of my list.
How? It was water.
I think what had happened was Jeff drinks milk or chocolate milk.
Was it not a clean glass?
No, it was. But I think it was a cup that maybe had got left in his room for
Oh,
days.
so the bottom didn't get clean.
I would have thrown it away.
If you threw up on me, you're making me.
Okay.
I'm
quite
getting
sure
it.
that Jerry discovered it, and he's the one that rinsed it out and put it in the. Because I will throw things like that away.
Yes,
if it gets
yes.
to a point to where it's like moldy or it's got fuzz growing on top
throw
of
it
it,
away.
I will literally throw it away.
Yeah, I throw away everything.
And it was a plastic cup too. It wasn't a glass.
Right.
So he must have found it.
Did you drink out of it?
Yes, I had been sipping it the whole time.
Oh my God! Is
Right.
this the awkward moment? Okay, I just want to. I'm like, did you throw up in the school or anything?
No.
All right.
Sorry.
It's okay. Because now my mouth is
Jamie-
starting to water. Wow.
When I tell people that I have a strange gag reflex,
No,
they
you
don't
do.
believe me.
You know what? I do too.
Veronica's looked at me so strange because I've done this.
You're like, no, you don't understand.
and she's
I'm-
like, "You're not telling me something. You know, are you a drug addict? Or
No,
are you, like,
what?
no, she's never asked me that. But I know her mind is like, what is
why
wrong
are
with you?
like this? You're like, no, I'm very.
I'm like,
odd
I
and
literally can't even. But the funny thing is Lauren is exactly this way.
Oh my God, it's genetic.
When we start talking about things on the phone,
You
we
both
both
can.
start gagging.
You're like, all right, that's it. Change the subject. I can't.
Yeah, we do.
I'll text it to you.
We do, and then we laugh because it's funny.
well, it's hilarious. Oh my God, I'm
But
sitting
nobody
here.
understands.
My eyes are like saucer. I'm like, oh, I just.
It's like a whole thing. It's like, I know you guys are just listening, but I literally had to stand up and like put my arms over my head to
You're like,
stop the need for wanting to vomit.
Oh my God.
And it's and who does that with thoughts? I mean, like literally just thinking about something.
We're
will
just
do that.
very imaginative people. I think it has-
I've done this when I've thought about having shots of tequila. I'm like, oh, that sounds so good. And then if I smell it or I see it, I will literally start doing this.
Yeah. You know what? I will say that someone taught me an acupuncture point that keeps the gag reflex from occurring.
Where is it?
It's right here in the little hole, like the little divot.
I can feel it.
And you push it really hard.
Ooh.
And it works.
It does work.
It works.
Oh, I feel better.
Yes.
I'm doing it now.
It was an acupuncture point that someone said, if
my nose is running. I am not joking.
I see you. If you ever are in a situation where you're gaggy, do that, and it actually helps.
So now I'll be doing the gaggy thing in front of Veronica, and I'll be sticking my finger down my esophagus. She's like, what are you doing? God.
You're like, what is happening?
We cannot be friends.
You're like, why are you poking yourself in the chest?
Well, I swear to God, sometimes it's just like I get it for no reason. I can remember it happening when we were. This is when I was smoking. We were outside, and it was like we were having wildfires, so it was really, really smoky outside. And when it's like that, and you're outside, it makes your mouth really dry,
And it burny and
burny and
true.
dry.
Yes.
Like you really drink like more water than you
do.
usually do. Well, we
That's
were out
true.
there. We were, of course, I talk 3,000 miles a minute,
Same.
and within a few minutes, my mouth was so dry that I was gagging.
Oh!
And I forgot to bring my water. I always bring
shit.
my water when we go out, so this doesn't happen.
Right. You're like,
And I didn't. And I was like, ooh. And I'm turning my back on her, but I'm obviously,
she's like,
you know,
are you all right?
she's quiet.
Your head,
She's just like,
no.
I am 100% sure that she has talked shit about behind my back for that. Like,
she is
she does
so
this weird thing. You guys have no idea.
She's got the strangest mouth I've ever seen.
And I don't blame her. I'm like, you're right. You're right.
That is so funny.
I'm just so glad you're the only person who's seen it.
Oh my god. Okay, well, mine is not that awkward, but it's awkward.
I didn't even think that was that awkward. But
Well, you were probably gagging in the car and everybody
drinking
saw
floaties.
you.
Yeah. Oh, I became instantly silent. I'm like, we can't speak. No, literally, I can't even open my mouth.
You're like, just the girl.
Yes. I was like, please, God, just let us make it home. And
It'd be one of those things where I turn to Joe and be like, you know what to do. I have to leave.
He didn't say shit.
Okay, mine was funny. So like I said, it's been a really stressful week. We talked about it off the show. It's nothing horrible, but it was just a stressful week.
Yeah.
And so yesterday was the first day where I'm like, okay, I'm kind of back on an even keel. Tomorrow, my sister's coming tomorrow. It's
Yeah.
gonna be fun. You know, everything's gonna be great.
Nothing major happened today.
But I woke up in the morning and it was just, I was off. I was just off because I was tired. I was emotionally exhausted.
Yeah.
And so I got up, I got dressed, did some stuff. I have a lot of show stuff to do that I've been ignoring. So I've been really just ignoring a lot of stuff. So I was really working yesterday. And it was like 4:00 in the afternoon. And I finally had to pee because I hadn't been drinking any water. So I peed. And then I come out and Daryl's like, I'm done. It's time for the weekend. And I said, that's great. I've been wearing my pants backwards all day.
Oh, fantastic.
And he's like, what?
What kind of pants were they?
They were like workout pants.
Okay, I was like imagining like jeans with the button in the back. I was
Well,
like, are you
no,
serious?
No, not that bad. But it was funny because they felt weird all day, but I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, well, these are old. I haven't
Because
been
the
wearing
ass
them.
is always bigger than the front.
Well, especially if they're old.
Right.
So
As we were
they were all
discussing.
filled in. Yeah. So I'm like, it's strange. And I think that's why I thought, God, is my ass getting bigger? 'Cause
That is
it's
exactly
bigger.
why you thought that.
It was so weird. And so for the rest of the day, every time I sat down or
funny.
sat in a chair, I'm like, yeah, my ass is definitely getting bigger.
And you didn't feel like, why is there so much room in my belly?
I'm like, am I not bloated anymore? Because I certainly feel like I am. God, he starts laughing, and I'm just like,
Is he just in the dark?
No, not at all. And so I'm like, this is just who I am now. And he's like, well,
See, I look for labels. I'm like,
he's
if
like-
I don't see the label, then
yeah. And
I
he's
gotta
like, well,
check.
when did you discover this? I'm like, oh, right now. And he goes, well, did you turn them around? I'm like, nope.
Nope. What am I supposed to do? I'm gonna take my legs all the way out, twist them around. No.
He goes, I'm gonna go shower now, though.
it's been 8 hours already.
I'm done. I'm like,
what's the point?
This day is over.
Well, at least it was a private awkward moment.
You know what? It almost wasn't, and that's why I said it.
Oh,
Because he's
God.
like, "Oh, we should go." I'm like, "Yeah, that's great." Oh, by the way, my pants are on backwards. He's like, "All right, everyone. Talk to you next week."